Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching the Boom Political Vigilante. So, one of the things we've learned over the last 20 years since the 9/11 is that both parties love surveillance and taking away our rights in the name of fighting terrorism, right? So there's a new, basically it's Patriot Act 2.0. We're going to get into it in a second. That the Democrats are going to try to push, I'm sure. And, all the pro-Trump people want it as well. Anytime you hear bipartisan, it's bad. Anytime there's a military budget increase, bipartisan support, right? Anytime I hear bipartisan support, I know the American people are getting screwed over. That is just a guarantee. So this is actually in The Intercept. I haven't covered a story in The Intercept in a while because The Intercept, I used to really like it when Glenn Greenwald was there, and then started getting a little neoliberally, but they still have some journalists doing some decent stuff over there every once in a while. So Trump allies are giddy about House Intelligence Committee surveillance bill. The committee is pushing a bill that civil liberties experts say would amount to the largest expansion of domestic surveillance in decades. Oh my God, we have no rights in this country. Americans who think America is like this amazing country, they don't know what they're talking about. In an 11th hour effort to preserve and expand the federal government's warrantless surveillance powers, the House Intelligence Committee advanced a bill last week that has the full-throated support of Donald Trump's senior law enforcement appointees. The bill, which has been described as civil liberties advocates as, quote, the largest expansion of domestic government surveillance since the Patriot Act. Oh, fantastic. I mean, the Patriot Act was great. We all gave away our freedoms willfully for safe security. It would increase federal surveillance agencies' access to the communications of U.S. citizens with almost no federal oversight or restrictions. Oh, yeah. I mean, why? Come on. Why do you need federal oversight? I trust the government. Don't you trust them to just surveil whatever we do and collect our data and sell it and infringe on our rights? Isn't that just great? Just to keep us safe. Safe. Can we have is there any sort of government or agency or law we can pass to keep us safe from the United States government? Because they're the ones I fear the most. I don't trust the U.S. government. I don't trust them. Can we have a law to help us not be attacked by our own government? Maybe I'm asking too much. The federal government's domestic spying powers come from Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, or FISA, which has been revamped after 9/11 to create mass data collection powers, has been routinely abused and manipulated, and is set to expire at the end of this year. While the bill's sponsors, including House Intelligence Committee Chair Rep. Mike Turner and ranking Democrat, yes, the Democrats, Jim Himes, have described the bill as a reform. Oh, what a nice way to give up more of our rights, civil liberties. I feel reformed. Don't you feel like that's good reform? It's like if I came and just stole part of your land and I say, no, I'm not stealing your land. I'm reforming it. Well, you're like, hey, Graham, I had 2 acres of property. Well, yeah, no, you have 1 acre. The other acre was reformed. And I'm putting a Starbucks on it. It would widen the scope of companies required to surrender information to investigators without a warrant. Oh, well, we've talked about that before, that, big tech companies have basically been like Google. We showed you that Google has been doing data collection for the intelligence community since 2011. That was proven in the book When WikiLeaks Met Google. A number of hawks who held key intelligence posts in the Trump administration are gunning for its passage. The push comes as President Joe Biden continues to fall in the polls. Biden is so horrible, and him and the Democrats, and a lot of Republicans, but Biden's in power, so his relentless support of Israel's genocide against the Palestinians, he's going to lose the election as a result of it. And then, a handful of clueless out of touch crybaby liberals who are in denial about how bad Biden is are going to blame independent lefty voters like us. See, Graham, you voted for Dr. Cornel West. That's why we have Trump. No, Biden, a sitting president, was an awful president, and he lost to a criminal. If you can't beat Donald Trump, you're dumb and horrible. If I was running, if I was the president, I would not lose to Donald Trump. I would not lose to Donald Trump. The push comes, so when Trump renews his desire to wield totalitarian powers, this is what Trump has said recently, quote, "I want to be a dictator for one day," he recently said. You know what I want to be a dictator? Because I would want a wall and I would want to drill, which is this, Republican hilariously wrong talking point of, Joe Biden, some hippie socialist with his green agenda. No, Joe Biden has signed more drilling permits on federal lands than Trump did. So Joe Biden is not good for the environment. Trump will be even worse for the environment. So it's just like, I mean, they're both awful. And we can't afford that as we face climate collapse. Anyway, civil rights experts warn that the sweeping powers by the Intelligence Committee's bill would be a danger under any presidential administration, in particular threat should Trump win the 2024 election. Jim Himes appears to be desperately throwing a Patriot Act-like expansion of warrantless surveillance into the hands of Donald Trump. It's beyond acceptable and must be called out. According to Wired, the Intelligence Committee bill is being quietly supported by the White House and senior intelligence community officials. Yay! There's our Democrats. There's the Democrats I know and love. There's the Democrats I know and love. The Republicans are openly awful, and the Democrats are quietly awful. Oh, isn't that the lesser of two evils? Do you want someone that's going to flat out tell you, I'm going to take your rights because I'm a crazy psycho that likes war and intelligence communities? Or do you want the person that say, I'm going to protect your rights from those other bad guys, and then secretly gives the rights over to the bad guys as that's the lesser of two evils? It's like liberals who still support the Democratic Party, and be very clear here that Joe Biden is crashing in the polls. We did a video on this like a week ago. His support of Israel is really killing him. The economy is doing horrible. Americans, unfortunately, are so propagandized that they're just going to vote. We got to get Biden out of there, and they're going to vote in Trump, which is just like, oh God, that'll be horrible. It's like when Trump was in office and he got voted out for Biden. I was like, well, I'm glad Trump's gone, but Biden is not going to do anything any better. I mean, he's going to be just kicking this corrupt football back and forth from one corrupt party to the next. And whoever's in power, when Bush was in office, all the liberals like, we got to just get him out of there. Obama's in there. We got to get him out of there. Trump's in there. We got to get him out of there. Biden's in there. We got to get him out of there. It's like none of them do anything except feed the ruling elites. That's all they do. And the Democrats just quietly go along with this crap. That's what Obama did. I voted for Obama twice, and then I watched him expand the surveillance state. It was Joe Biden that put Chelsea Manning in jail. It was Joe Biden that made Edward Snowden have to flee to Russia. No, I'm sorry. It was Obama. I'm sorry. I said that wrong. Obama Biden was his VP. It was Obama that jailed Chelsea Manning. It was Obama that made Edward Snowden have to flee to Russia. It was Obama that put Julian Assange in jail. And Trump continued all of it because he's an awful idiot, just like these other morons. Like, Obama dropped more bombs than Bush. Obama's last year in office, he dropped 26,171 bombs, and then Trump came in office and dropped more bombs than Obama. It's madness. It's just the lesser of two evils thing is just beyond it. It's unreal to me how liberals still support this Democratic Party that is quietly, according to Wired magazine, quietly backs this Patriot Act 2.0. But the evidence is already there. Senator Hillary Clinton voted for the Patriot Act. Senator Joe Biden voted for the Patriot Act. I mean, these people are awful. Oh my God. Yeah, somebody put in the chat, two parties provides the illusion of choice. There's no choice. You're choosing between Coke and Pepsi. And then they put up, oh, here's Pepsi Light. Here's Cherry Coke. Here's Cherry Coke Zero. That's what they basically do. Unbelievable. There's a competing piece of legislation which would defang the 702 authority by forcing government officials to obtain warrants prior to its use, in addition to a number of other reforms that would inhibit warrantless data collection. In Congress, the bill is supported by members of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, a useless entity that never uses their power for anything, as well as the right-wing Freedom Caucus. It is also backed by civil liberties advocates, including EFF and the ACLU. All right. On Tuesday, the House is likely to vote on Section 702 legislation through a process known as Queen of the Hill. The unusual parliamentary procedure would put the two competing bills up for a floor vote with a simple winner-take-all majority needed to secure the passage. Minority Leader Representative Hakeem Jeffries did not respond to the Intercept's request. Congress will also be voting this week on the National Defense Authorization Act. Oh, boy. Ooh, the NDAA, a must-pass bill that contains a provision extending the 702 authority in its current form. They'll find a way to extend this, take away our rights thing. They love it. They're so drunk with it. They've been doing it since 9/11. Section 702 allows the U.S. government to gather the communications of non-U.S. citizens abroad. But in practice, it allows the government to surveil Americans who are in touch with foreign nationals as well. See, when you're abroad, so if you're an American, so I have friends in other countries, so now they can surveil me. If I'm traveling abroad, they can surveil me because I'm talking to foreign nationals. You mean like calling my friend who lives in Paris? Hey, you want to grab dinner? And they're like, oh, Graham's talking to a terrorist. Oh, no, a musician living in Paris. They're going to bring it all down. The authority has been used to conduct thousands of backdoor searches on U.S. citizens, including electing officials and activists. Let's circle activists. That's who they're going after. The spying power grants the governments the ability to force telecommunication providers to hand over information on its targets. Good Lord, these guys are so evil. Hotels, libraries, coffee shops, and other places that offer Wi-Fi to the customers could be forced to serve as surrogate spies. They could be required to configure their systems to ensure that they can provide the government access to the entire streams of communication, she tweeted. Even a repair person who comes to fix the Wi-Fi in your home would meet the revised definition. That person is an employee of a service provider who has access to equipment on which communications are transferred. Oh, these are all the people fighting for it. Jaya Paul, for her part, said that the law should be overhauled to protect Americans' constitutional rights and their sensitive data. Section 702, reauthorization, should be a subject to strong scrutiny and debate and cannot be included in larger must-pass legislation, she wrote. Congress must work to stop the government from warrantlessly spying on Americans. Well, let's see if they do anything about it. Big tech gets all this money and they vote for these politicians. Big tech spends a lot of money on these politicians, and big tech gets government money for giving up the data. See how it works? See how the filthy system works? Isn't it nice? Oh, God. This is why I vote third party. This is why I will not vote for the Democrats. I will not vote for any Democrat. I will not. Sorry, not going to vote for you. If you have a D in front of your name, I am not voting for you at all. Not going to happen. Certainly not going to vote for you if you got an R next to your name. The two-party system is horribly corrupt. Corrupt, however you want to say it. You know what I mean. Folks, go to GrahamElwood.com, sign up for our newsletter, and we don't even send them out once every month or so. And going to be having more tour dates coming up in January. And we just did the Anything Can Happen pilot, which was great. Like, share, subscribe, support on the scroll below. There's a Venmo account at Graham-Elwood. There's Rockfin.com/GrahamElwood, which is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform, and they don't censor us. And then there is Patreon.com/GrahamElwood. And of course, you can buy merchandise at GrahamElwood.com with that logo on it. It's the holidays. Get some cool gifts for people. Thank you so much, everybody. Shave your knuckles for justice.